So, a little more today on coffee yoga and why I started doing coffee yoga without knowing it was going to be a thing and why it became effective for me. So, when we talk about coffee yoga, it's yoga. I'm teaching yoga. It's just we're bringing in coffee in the morning, if you have coffee in the morning, or any time of day. Tea, whatever is your thing that brings you comfort. So, I'll tell you how I started this and why I know it was successful. A lot of people right now are working on changing their habits. And I think that's a really positive thing because we feel like we need to change our habits when we feel like we need to change the world. And right now, it's difficult to think on like a global scale, but I often think that way, that more than ever in my life, the world needs steadiness. It needs harmony and steadiness. We are not in a steady place. And I found when I woke up in the morning that coffee was a ritual that never went away. Like I always had a cup of coffee in the morning. Most of the time, I had to have a cup of coffee that I made in my Keurig while my coffee was brewing because I couldn't wait long enough for my morning coffee, so I had to make a morning coffee before my morning coffee. That's a real thing. The morning coffee before the morning coffee. Anyway, by connecting something new to a ritual that you already do every day, something positive, it's easier to keep that new thing. When we're trying to bring new habits in, we obviously know, or most of us know, bringing in new habits, new good habits, and getting rid of old habits is very difficult. Like changing ourselves is very difficult. And not changing ourselves so much, but changing our behavior, changing the way that we walk down our path. And what I found was if I decided that I was only going to drink my coffee on my yoga mat, that ritual would then become connected to being on a yoga mat. So I didn't have to introduce anything new into my life. I mean, there were times when I would drink coffee while I was driving to work, which I was usually late, and it was just like frantic. And so at the end of the day, one of the things I had to change about my life in order to make this work was waking up earlier. And so to achieve sometimes what we want, which is, to be steady and to be calm, we have to do uncomfortable things. So if you don't have time, then you are one of the people that needs to do this the most. Because we have time. We do. We all have the exact same amount of time in our lives, every single person. It's how you use your time. So I was so busy that I had to force myself to get up early enough to have a cup of coffee on my yoga mat. And when I started doing that, I started associating the comfort that I felt when I drank coffee in the morning, because I love coffee, and also I love tea. I drink tea at night a lot too, but coffee does it for me in a way that I think it's my favorite part of life. So then I was able to associate that nice, slow, beautiful morning yoga practice that I would do with morning coffee. And that integrated it into my life. And I had a better life after I started doing that. Because me having a cup of coffee in the morning was already there. And for most of us, we have a ritual in the morning that's already there. But by taking this beautiful moment, this cup of coffee was so calming for me and so much relief, because I'm like, okay, here we go. And then doing a very gentle yoga practice, it really connected me to my body, to that moment, to something that I really loved and that was consistent. And doing that, consistently getting up in the morning, and I say morning because this is how I did it. Getting up in the morning, making a cup of coffee, sitting down on your yoga mat, and then being curious. Okay, am I going to sit and drink my coffee? That's a practice. Or am I going to turn on a video and close my eyes and just listen and do the practice and experience your full self, just you? There's so many ways to use it that will set you up for a day of more ease and less reactivity.